Hi. It's just wind. It blows all over the place. That's right, Huge Movie Fanatic back to do another winter-related movie review, solo version. This movie review is for the Nicolas Cage movie, The Weatherman. Now, I worked at Video Store Movie Gallery when at the time this movie came out on DVD, and I don't know what about it. Obviously, you see a lot of covers when you work at a video store, and I didn't rent many movies at all. I don't know what it was about this movie that maybe I had seen a trailer on another DVD, or maybe just the cover. Something about the cover with him with just like the suit and the bow and arrows was just interesting to me. And I watched it, and me and my dad watched it, and we absolutely loved it. Now there's people who would probably call this movie and it's their right. I mean, it's absolutely their right to call movies, or movies cynical. Okay. Matt would probably call this a cynical movie, as would probably a lot of other people, and I guess I don't know. I don't look at movies, movies, or I don't know. I guess it's just because of my life and my attitude and my personality that I actually tend to go for movies like this, whereas the mainstream people don't. They'd rather see like Hilary Duff bouncing around with throwing pillows and shit. It's like I really respond to movies like this because if I'm anything, I can call myself a realist. If that means anything at all. I mean, I don't generally like to, put myself in any kind of slot. But if some woman had her, pointed her big tit at my face, and was holding her tit to my face and said, I'm going to shoot if you don't, say something, put yourself in a slot. I'd say, okay, I'm a realist. If I had a tit held to my head, I'd say that. And this movie is a 4-star, phenomenal. I just rewatched this within the last week. Phenomenal little just story about what life and what life can be like, and a lot of times is like. Me and my dad, when we saw this, he was very much same-minded as I, or I'm very much the same-minded as he was. So we both absolutely just laughed and giggled with glee as this movie was playing, and for the rest of the winter we saw it, and it came out on video like exactly the time the movie takes place in the movie, so that was kind of cool. So for the rest of the winter, we'd say it's we'd joke around and say the wind blows all over, or what's the spritz snipper, I can't even remember what the thing's called. Snipper, I don't know. Is that what it's called? Whatever. But we loved this movie, and I had since bought it at Half Price Books for $3, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. And I had, just knowing that I'm going to do these reviews, rewatched it, and this is phenomenal. I mean, I can't, it's one of these movies that it's just like, there's so much greatness to me about this movie that, and for me, I came away from the movie saying pretty much like, taking away from it, like, what I take away from this movie is you can't really, or you're, depending on who you are, and I can't say this for everyone, but you can't really, life is going to do what life wants to do, pretty much, and you can't really dictate what's going to happen. And a lot of times you can't necessarily choose the kind of person you want to be, or you can't choose the kind of life you want to have. If you're prone to screwing things up, you're just, for whatever reason, that's how you are, and that's probably how you're going to be for the rest of your life. So that, he tries and tries and tries to make things better with his daughter, make things good with his wife, and because of the way he is, he just screws it up. And there's so many hilarious moments, and I'm probably not going to put any on here because of copyright bullshit, but you can see here on YouTube clips, if you type in like tartar sauce, The Weatherman, you probably find the tartar sauce clip, which is one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. I love the humor of this movie. It's 4-star, flippin' amazing, frickin' humor. amazing, but I can't say enough about this movie. And it's just like, the thing about this movie is like his dad, this Michael Caine, who I think is trying to do an American accent, but I swear all I can hear is British. He's like this quote unquote accomplished writer and all this and that, and Nicolas Cage feels like a bum for being a weatherman. But what the movie ends up saying is, you really can't necessarily choose your place. Or I'm gonna re-say that you might not, depending on who you are, you might not necessarily be able to choose what you want, but you'll fall into whatever is right or wrong for you. I mean, it's almost like life will dictate in a lot of cases what you're gonna do, and the fact that he's failing at everything in his life, but for some reason he's good at just doing this, and everything in his life is going to shit, but throughout the whole movie he's got this potential job offer in New York that he doesn't know if he's going to get, and then he gets an interview, and then this and that and this and that. So everything else around his life is crumbling. He can't fix anything else, but throughout the course of the movie, this better job in New York, this national show versus just whatever Chicago show or weather show, news show. So at the end of the movie, like, he ends up, it's not a big deal, spoiler, it doesn't matter, getting this better weather job in New York, higher pay. But everything else, I think the movie says so much in a lot of ways, and it's like I say, it says that you can't necessarily force life or force who you are or force life to do what you want it to do. It's like the opposite, where everyone is, as much as they might like to deny it or not admit it, everyone is pretty much a victim of their own life. Now, whether they're a victim of good things or bad things or mediocre things, is, that remains to be seen. But it's a movie that kind of says you can't necessarily control life. Life controls you, and you can only decide how you're going to react to it. And I think that's kind of, for me, what the movie says. And I kind of agree with that. I think that, and the movie has such a fun time with all this stuff, that all these bummers. He takes his daughter's like an overweight, and why is she in ballet class? It makes no sense, and the whole archery thing. And I like how the fact that he wanted to take his daughter to do something that she wanted to do. Okay, she wants to try archery, and it's like, psh, ow! And she ended up not wanting to do archery, but I like the fact that he ended up doing archery. I like that fact. And it's interesting to me. And it's like, that's one of the things throughout the course of the movie, just like his, getting the weather job, that one of the things that he was actually able to control, and I think it can probably be a metaphor for so many other different things, the fact that he was, throughout the course of the movie, continuing to do archery, and by the end he was just like really good at it. So that's a great way of saying, like, maybe you can't make everything right, or you can't get good at everything, but there are things that if you just persist, that you will be able to master, like in this case archery, and also telling the weather. And that brings a little bit of gratification to his character's life, But I would highly recommend, The Weatherman. And again, now, it depends what kind of person you are. If you're like a church-going, fluffy, positive, clueless bastard, you probably are not going to like The Weatherman, But if you're like a person who likes, I don't even know how I describe what this movie is. I don't want to call it cynical. But I know that that's probably what, majority of your average person would call it. It's just a movie about, to me, it's just thoroughly enjoying, and I don't know how to describe it without using the word cynical. I don't know, but I think I pretty much said what I wanted to say about The Weatherman. It's having just rewatched it within the last week, it's phenomenal. There's really nothing I don't like about it. It's just dead on, exactly my kind of humor. I absolutely love the humor in this movie, and like I say, it's a portrait that shows how we're just like pretty much victim of life, is what it boils down to, and we really don't have too much control over really what happens. We might have a little, and it's going to vary depending on who you are. But people like to think I have my life under control, and they're just kind of, I mean, some people might more than others, but I think that people are kind of clueless if they actually think that. So that's just my personal opinion. But thank you very much for watching. And I don't know, man, it's just a bunch of air blows all over the place. That's a quote from the Weatherman. But this is a phenomenal movie. If you like cynical movies, I'd say give it a shot. Thanks for watching.